Let's talk about Salesforce Web Technologies now. So if we talk about Salesforce front end, Salesforce currently supports two types of user experiences. The first one is Salesforce Classic. The Salesforce Classic was the only user experience in Salesforce before 2014. And as you can see from this screenshot here, this somehow look a old age UI. It's not a modern UI. So after 2014, Salesforce has started supporting a new type of user experience which they call as Salesforce Lightning. Now this is a modern UI. This not only looks better, it also helps you increase your productivity. From one page itself, you will have tons of options to do your work. Let's say you want to update your opportunity stage, you have lightning path right there. I'm talking about that green line. So you can click on one of the element and boom, your opportunity stage is updated. You can see all your related records on the same page on the right side bar. So this definitely helps you increase your productivity. And as per Salesforce, the Lightning is much faster than the Salesforce Classic. Now let's talk about the technologies that you can use to build any of these UI. If you want to build Salesforce Classic UI, then you have to use the Visualforce pages. Visualforce is a Salesforce proprietary language that you can use to build your UI pages or UI components. If you want to build the Salesforce Lightning UI, then you have two technologies here. The first one is the Aura Component Framework and the second one is Lightning Web Component Framework. The Aura Component Framework was introduced in 2014 and it's more mature than compared to the Lightning Web Components Framework, which were introduced in the December 2018. Both of these framework allows you to achieve the similar functionality or to build similar components, but they have different tech stack. As per Salesforce, the Lightning Web Component Framework is much faster than the Aura component because it is based on the latest web standards, where the Aura Component Framework was a complete Salesforce proprietary framework and each and every feature of this framework was built within the framework itself. The Lightning Web Component Framework kind of relies on the latest web standards or the latest web stack which are natively available in your web browser, and that is the reason the Lightning Web Components are much faster than the Aura Component Framework. If you want to get my view on the Salesforce Classic versus the Salesforce Lightning UI, I love Salesforce Lightning UI, and that's because it's modern and helps you achieve more in less time. And anyways, the Salesforce Classic is running out of its fuel and soon will be discontinued by the Salesforce, maybe like in coming few years. So this was about the Salesforce front end. Now let's talk about the Salesforce backend. Salesforce uses Oracle as its database, but as a Salesforce user, you will never be directly interacting with the Oracle database. Rather, you will be interacting with the Salesforce objects. So you will be creating your objects, which in database terms are tables where you will be storing your records or rows. Salesforce backend language is Apex, which is very similar to the Java language. You can use Apex to read the data from your Salesforce objects or to update, delete or create the data in your Salesforce objects. Apart from the Apex language, Salesforce has some declarative tools as well, which can also directly interact with your objects or your Salesforce database. And these tools are workflow rules, process builder, visual flows and approval processes. We'll be talking about these declarative tools in our coming videos, but for now, just know that apart from Apex, there are some declarative tools that can also read and update your Salesforce data. Now let's see how a Salesforce object stores your data. You can say a Salesforce object is a database table where you can store your data. In this example, we have a user object which can store the user data. So we have a table which can store the first name of user, the last name of the user and the email of the user. And we can see that it has two records. one for Manish Chaudhary and the second one for the Harry Potter. Now this first name, last name and email, these are called fields. So the first name is the field 1 in user object, then we have another field called last name, and then we have another field called email. In database term, you can also call these columns. And the Manish Chaudhary and Harry Potter are the records. So this table or this object has two records. In database term, you can also call this record as row or the table row. So just to reiterate, a Salesforce object is just a schema to store your data, and it stores your data in tabular format.